let's get the painful part out of the way first of all. Let's start with the verdict then.
Oh, the verdict is thumbs up, both hands. Love it. It's great fun, and I love the treatment. It's all wholehearted stuff. The singing, I like the toasting, and I like the fact that it's like a ska version. Really nice.
Well, do you know, I got to thank our producer, Tom Kirkpatrick, who's a local artist, who we asked him and said, look, will you produce this song for us? And of course, I was thinking of the original version that you guys did with the the big sound and the strings, and I'm thinking, oh, we're going to be able to pull that off. And then he said, look, because it's Coventry, we want this kind of the ska sound is the sound of the city. And then you start to think, what are we going to do to this song? But it does kind of work, doesn't it?
I think it's great. Yeah, I especially like the horn charts and the trombones and everything. It's very, very West Indian sort of theme there. I just think the whole thing's great. It's really a lot of fun, and blimey, of course, I'd never have thought of doing this with it, and nor with the band. But that's the great thing about. If it's a decent song, you can do it any number of ways and it will still work.
Do you know, I was just watching, actually, just while I was waiting to talk to you, I was just watching on YouTube, you guys playing at the House of Blues. I don't know if you've seen that particular video, and I think you finished the show with Let's Go Round Again. And you've put this piece that you've put on the Stars of it, and you don't immediately recognise what the song is. You kind of play with it, because I should imagine you've played it a few times in your career now, haven't you, Alan?
Just a few, yeah. I've lost count, but no, we're always messing around with intros or outros or something like that to keep ourselves fresh as much as anything else. And it's nice to sort of disguise the start of a tune a little bit, and then when people realise what it is, you get the reaction. And it's always good fun. So we mess around with stuff as well. So I'm delighted to hear this, and it's always a joy to hear a new version of something you've written many, many years ago.
Do you know, I'm just absolutely blown away. It's made my complete day, if not week, and probably month as well. The fact that you're okay with it, because you do. I mean, I know people have been talking to you throughout this, and we asked permission whether we could do it in the first place, and you've been amazingly generous with your song. But you must get attached to your music. I know you do let people cover your songs, from time to time. But do you get that kind of attachment? You think this is my baby, this is my song?
Well, not so much nowadays. I'll tell you what really made all the difference was the sampling era. All through the 90s and the beginning of this decade, we've had so many of our tunes sampled by rap artists and hip-hop artists that you get quite used to not numb, but you get quite used to the fact that people are messing around and chopping things up and mashing them up and changing them. And in general, they've been creative and they've been really, really good. And I've got to the stage where I sort of welcome these things, and I think that they're really encouraging. And last of all, they kind of endorse the fact that you're still worthwhile. It's okay to still be doing this because the music stands up,
Yeah. We had I don't know if he crosses your consciousness, Pete Waterman, a pop impresario in the UK.
Yes, well known. Yeah.
I know because you've lived in the States for a long time, and we had Pete on the show obviously because he's a Coventry lad as well, and so he said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I've got to tell you, that's the first time I've ever known a song dedicated to to a road of any description. So for that, it gets the thumbs up." When you wrote the song, Alan, obviously this is all about relationships and giving a relationship another go, and let's give it another try. Who was it about? I'm sure this has been asked many times, but have you ever let on who you wrote the song about originally?
No, that's not actually ever been asked before, and I haven't had to either lie about it or make up an answer. Which
one are you going to do?
So I shall stay stum. No, it was a pygmy of my imagination, quite honestly. And it was just I'll tell you what, it was actually very funny. It was inspired by watching an episode of the Benny Hill Show, if you can believe it. So it had a comedic sort of germ at the start of it. And I thought, we could make this into a band song, and if I'm clever I could write this for Hamish's voice because it had that high octave thing,
Yeah.
And then it was more just a case of it just all sort of came out in 5 minutes. I just sat down and that song honestly just came out. I didn't think about who it was meant to be about or for or anything. But it is funny that the actual chorus, the lyric, was inspired by a few things that were said on a Benny Hill show.
That is amazing, isn't it?
It just shows to go that not everything's serious.
No, or that it can start off as a germ of an idea that's a little bit crazy and turn into something that's so huge. I mean, the song itself and playing it live as you do, and what you kind of get the impression from the band that you've got now, you're all very much multi-instrumentalists, aren't you? I mean, you play guitar, vocals, and your bass playing, I have to say, as a bit of an amateur bass player. I mean, that
was my main apprenticeship was the bass.
You wrote that on piano though, did you? I'm guessing.
That's right. Yeah, I did. And I wrote it at like half the speed, sort of as a ballad speed, you know. And then I thought, wait a minute, this. And at that time, one of my favourite acts was the O'Jays.
Wow, yeah.
And I thought, you know, this really could sound like a Philadelphia record, the way the O'Jays, Backstabbers and I Love Music and all these great songs that came out of there. I thought the overall sound of the record that we could make would be like our version of a tribute to the O'Jays kind of thing.
And what about that? I mean, moving from Perth, setting up camp in LA, and I know you've been in the States for some considerable time now, but the sound, and it's quite interesting, I had to laugh, because if you look on YouTube at some of your videos, a lot of people are putting comments like, these guys are white. And I'm thinking, you don't know the half of it, mate. They're from Scotland as well, the majority of them. But the sound has got that sort of, that kind of, the West Coast, as you say, the R&B. I mean, how did a lad from Perth get the funk in the first place?
Oh, my dad was a jazz musician, so I sort of grew up with Fats Waller and Louis Armstrong and all that kind of stuff, all his 78. So I was kind of weaned on Black American music before I even found the soul music of the 1960s coming into the country and coming into the dance clubs. It certainly hadn't really reached radio until Radio Luxembourg, and that was on a bit, and it didn't really sort of take root in Britain, I don't think, until almost the beginning of the 70s, the soul music thing, apart from Tamla Motown and a few Stax records. But that's what floated my boat, was the Tamla stuff, the Stax stuff, and all the Atlantic records. So it was I was hopelessly gone by then,
And when you arrived in LA, I mean, as a bunch of sort of washed out Scottish chaps, I mean,
we were when we arrived in LA that night. Yes.
Was that an advantage? Is that a disadvantage? I mean, did the record company go, oh, okay, right, okay, so we need to look at how we market these guys now, or did they not perceive that as a problem?
They were a bit puzzled. Our first record. That's putting it mildly. Yeah. After they got over being a bit puzzled, they just they said, you know what, we're going to give you your tapes back, and we think you should go somewhere else. And so we went over to Atlantic Records, and they welcomed us with open arms, because they absolutely, totally understood what we were doing, and put us together with Arif Marden, and the rest, as they say, is jam and bread.
Well, listen, it has been an absolute delight. I'll be honest with you, I don't get nervous about talking to people. That's my job, but every so often you have to ask questions that you think, I'm not sure that I'm going to like the answer, and I'm just so glad that we were able to make contact, and it was the answer that I was looking for. Now, here's the next thing, though, Alan. I'm going to learn the saxophone, and I think we should do a cover of Pick Up the Pieces, okay?
You're going to learn the saxophone. How old are you, sir? May I advise a simpler instrument? How about banjo?
No, that could be that. Yeah, I'm just writing that down. Pick Up the Pieces on banjo. We'll be back in touch very soon, okay?
I just think of that on Music While You Work with the Big Ben Banjo Band. I mean, that would be terrific. It really would.